Hello and welcome to Everyday Tarot, your daily dive into the divine wisdom of the tarot. I'm your host, Camille A. Saunders, healer, tarot enthusiast, and professional witch, and today I'm talking about fire omens and reading smoke. Whether you're a seasoned tarot reader or just starting to explore, this podcast offers daily insights, intuitive messages, and practical advice drawn from the cards. Each episode is designed to help you connect with your inner wisdom, find clarity in your decisions, and tap into the energy of the universe. Tune in every day, Monday through Friday, for fresh perspectives and empowering guidance from the tarot as interpreted by me. If you love the show, the best way to support it for free is by listening daily, leaving a review, and subscribing or following in your favorite podcast app. If you're interested in crafting your own tarot cards, you can get my full workshop and PDF to walk you through it for just $33. The link will be in the show notes to purchase that now. I'm also offering a 12-week Tarot for Transformation live course starting at the end of this summer. And so if you're interested in that, you can also sign up in the show notes. I did just update my Patreon benefits to be bigger and better than ever. So if you want an individual card pulled for you once a month live on the podcast during the New Moon Collective Tarot readings, join the Everyday Tarot Patreon family at the lovers level. If you're local to the Greater Puget Sound area, you can join my Let's Talk Tarot meetup group event and get notifications for when the new events are posted. And if you're interested in my free PDF with the 2025 5-card tarot spread I created just for you at the beginning of this year, you can get that by joining my newsletter list. My weekly newsletter always has the most up-to-date information on upcoming events, presentations, musings, and more. And if you don't already know, I'm a sex and relationships therapist and coach, seeing clients virtually all over from my home office. I love working with queer, poly, and witchy clients. So if you like to work with someone that doesn't judge you, is witchy just like you, and helps you learn how to deal with anxiety, chronic pain or illness, communication issues, self-advocacy, and sex, head to my website and book a free consultation now to start your journey. You can find the links for any of these offers in the show notes or on my website, CamilleASaunders.com/everydaytarot, in addition to the images of the cards I pull on each episode. Well, welcome to season 13, where I'm talking all about divination and the Harry Potter series. If you haven't listened to my other seasons yet, you can check those out. Season 1 was all about tarot basics. Seasons 2 and 3, I went through all the major arcana cards and an overview of the 4 suits. In season 4, I talked tarot and pop culture, where I had an episode on Harry Potter and Professor Trelawney. So that sort of allowed me to expand into this whole season here. Season 5, I talked tarot spreads. Season 6, 7, 8, and 9, I went through all the suits. Season 10, tarot and witchcraft. Season 11, tarot and plant allies. And season 12 was about tarot and animals. And like I said, we are here in season 13 talking all about divination and the Harry Potter series, and today we're talking about fire omens or reading smoke. So a little bit of background on me and the series. I grew up reading all the books from elementary school on as a family. My parents read them to us before bed every night for many years. And then we also all listened to the audiobooks in the car as a family when we went on road trips. I am in Slytherin house. My favorite book is Half-Blood Prince. My favorite movie is Goblet of Fire. I've been a MuggleCast podcast listener since 2006. They kicked off their podcast in 2005 and just celebrated their 20th anniversary of podcasting. And I didn't write it down, but I've been doing favorites in the series. So let's see, what would be appropriate for today? Maybe favorite spell. Let's see. I mean, I think Accio or Astio is very cool because you can just bring something to you wherever you are. And as someone who doesn't like losing things, that would be a great spell for me. So let's talk about fire omens or reading smoke. We get a brief mention of it in the series. Which is also fire omens, also known as pyromancy. So at the start of the I think the third year, when Harry enters Sybil Trelawney's divination class. They talk about that they would begin to study crystal gazing in the summer term as long as they were done learning about fire omens by that time. And then we also know that Ferenzi taught in his 5th year divination class, burning various herbs and spices such as sage and mallow sweet to try to see symbols in the smoke. And so it's sort of unknown if that would be considered a form of reading fire omens, but I would think so. I would think anything where you're kind of burning things and looking in the smoke is going to be sort of related to fire omens. All right, so let's talk about the art of capnomancy or pyromancy or smoke divination. I am reading from pathos.com, an article talking about smoke divination and also talking about Risa Miller again. So she came up when we talked about tea leaf divination. So Risa Miller is a writer, academic, and lover of nature. She's been doing tea leaf divination and smoke readings for a number of years. And there's lots of ways that smoke divination can be approached and also incorporate different plants when it comes to burning herbs, right? So again, if we think of ways to create smoke, obviously you can just burn wood, but a lot of incense, either you have sticks or cones, which are sort of compacted plant matter or things that are sort of, you just buy it and light it. And I have an incense stick going right now. Let me pull up what's in it. So I am burning from the Sea Witch Botanicals line, the White Lodge essential oil incense that has fir needle and cedar wood, which I really love. It says its associations are water, cups, relief, and you. It's associated with Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And like I said, the oils are cedarwood, atlas, and fir needle. So that is kind of what's in here. And then in the stick, it's like essential oils, charcoal, tree resin, a bamboo stick, which is what sort of everything is compacted on, and then some paint, which includes pigments and natural resins. So that's kind of how incense sticks work. If you were to burn herbs, like they talk about Ferenzi did, generally you either have you get like a block of charcoal and then you sprinkle the dried herbs on top of it, and that will sort of create incense as well. So again, with smoke, you're looking at, it's ancient, it's evocative, right? Ever since humans have figured out how to make fire, right? There has been smoke. It sort of has this like edgy element of danger, because where there is smoke, there's always fire. Fire is a pure energy, and smoke is the embodiment of its massive force, making capnomancy or smoke divination a powerful reflection for those seeking guidance. Smoke's magic is in its lightness, the way it stretches skywards, lifts our wishes, even shifts the energy of the dead. Smoke has historically been used to transport the remains of the deceased, lifting their souls from the physical world during cremation. So quite literally, smoke connects the earthly world with subtle energy. So capnomancy follows under the category of pyromancy, which is fire divination, dates back to the earliest fires created by humankind. There is a recorded capnomancy in ancient Babylon about 2000 BCE, when cedar burned in ceremonial fires was translated by priests. Delphi's oracles were also reported to use smoke in their scene, as well as ancient Greeks, who preferred animal sacrifices in their smoke reading fires. Druids also are believed to have used oak and mistletoe for capnomancy. And so sort of different cultures have used different herbs and plants as well. So this goes along with plant magic. You can check out my whole plant magic season, which was season 11. All right, so smoke, right, it paints a vivid scene. You have it kind of floating along. If you're outside, right, the smoke will change directions depending on the wind. You can use a candle, You can use incense, like I said, or other different kinds of things to do it. And then there's also sort of the soot left behind that can also be interpreted. Risa Miller talks about using the smoke from the beginning. As soon as you light the candle, getting a sense for the reading sets the stage for a larger message that unfolds. And just like tea leaf reading, she says she looks for symbology language, right? Animals, human figures, letters, numbers, faces, geometry, and other details. Smoke divination can be ideal for reaching across the veil into the spirit realm because of its ethereal nature. Maybe Harry should have tried it out to speak to Sirius when he was so sort of desperate to do so. Let's see. So yeah, if you want to give it a try, it says like look at smoke when it's backlit, so where you have light behind you. That will help. You can use a phone or any other light source to kind of like use modern technology to aid the documentation of the smoke, right? Or taking pictures of it. It's hard to do it outside, they say, because of the wind, right? Especially on a windy day. So also the environment will change your reading. So just think about that. Yeah, so there's sort of different symbols in there as well. All right. And then, yeah, like I said, so Ferenz is also said to talk about fire omens, which is interesting because when Ferenzi speaks about how the centaurs interpret the future, he mostly speaks about astrology, right? Reading the stars, the celestial, but it sounds like perhaps they also practice other forms of divination as well. I'm so curious about how the centaurs like live. Like, do they set fires? What do they eat? Do they eat just like the same as like humans do? Like, yeah, just a lot of questions there that we don't really know a lot about. Let's see. So yeah, I pulled some cards that I thought went along with this pyromancy or reading the fire. I pulled from not a tarot deck, but the Citadel, a fantasy oracle deck by Fen Inkwright, and I pulled the Smith, so like a blacksmith. I pulled the Adventurer because it shows a volcano on it, and I pulled the Diviner, talking about divine timing. So let's look at these cards and see how they can be sort of interpreted along with smoke. So we have the Smith. Oops. Trying to find it here. Keep going to the other suits incorrectly. Okay, we're almost there. The Smith. There's something on your mind that you've been planning for a long time, and though it may be easier to keep putting it off, the time for action is here. By continuing to overthink things, you're going to miss your opportunity, so seize the day and get into it. You'll feel so much lighter afterwards. And again, on the card, it says the Smith is about overthinking and taking action. It has the coal glow heat of the forge in sharp contrast to the cold of the streets outside. And so, right, if we think about blacksmithing, you're creating something new as the hammer strikes iron and using sparks. There's rhythm, and the Smith it's sort of a meditative task, I believe, as well, because you can sort of like take your mind out of it as your body is going through that. So it's interesting. It's about overthinking. I pulled the Adventurer, which says it's about responsibility and expectations. So let's look at that one. Somehow you've ended up in a position in which the weight of expectation is heavier than you wanted. Unwanted responsibility is a heavy burden, and there are plenty of people waiting for you to fail, but there are just as many waiting to catch up to you. Don't try to face it alone. Ask for help, break the task down into smaller parts, and take it day by day or even hour by hour. If you need to, there's no greater achievement than proving your naysayers wrong. And again, this was the Adventurer. It depicts a volcano, and we have responsibility and expectations. And then finally, I have the Diviner, about divine timing and evaluation. Okay. It says, incense fills the air with its heavy scent, turning the light hazy and thick. Though it makes you cough, the diviner seems unfazed by it. By reading the signs, the diviner can determine the path of the future and plant the seeds that are needed to turn events in their favor. Patience is your closest ally. You've taken the actions needed to achieve your desired outcome, and right now, nothing more can be done to hurry it into fruition. Rather than waiting impatiently, take this moment to evaluate your progress and allow things to happen in accordance with divine timing. Make arrangements so that when this outcome does occur, you're in the best position to embrace it. So we have a lot of things about timing here, right? We have divine timing, we have the Adventurer of sort of taking advantage of timing, and then we have the Smith, which is about, right, not waiting too long and not sort of waiting for the timing to show up for you, but sort of continuing and looking backward about what you have done before. So I think those are all very interesting as we think about fire omens. Let's see what else. So yeah, let's pull a card to see what message fire omens or reading smoke has for us today. I'm going to pull from the Desert Illuminations Tarot deck by Lindsay D. Williams and see what message we can learn. Okay, I pulled the 9 of Cups, or Jugs, in this deck. Okay, this handsome cowboy is hanging out, feeling completely content, proud, and fulfilled. He is surrounded by luxurious velvet curtains, a prismatic foyer, and copious amounts of mystic whiskey jugs. The 9 of Jugs is telling you to enjoy your life and appreciate all that you have in the present moment. You've earned it. You can finally spoil yourself. You're feeling fulfilled, and you're surrounded by an abundance. Now is a great time to buy a lotto ticket because you radiate luck. If you aren't feeling too great, remember to look around you and appreciate even the small things that you have. The fact that you are alive is a gift in itself. Be present and grateful for every moment because it can vanish at any time. Interesting. More things about time. So I guess our timing and our divine timing right now is really coming forward as we peruse this episode. So thanks for joining me today on this shorter episode about fire omens and reading smoke. Hopefully you get to play around on your own time with practicing that. If you'd like to join me on the journey of using the tarot for transformation, you can click on the link in the show notes to indicate your interest and to get all that information. We'll be working together for 12 weeks of calls and journaling to discover what happens when we want to transform our lives through the tarot. Links for the tarot decks I talk about will always be in the show notes and on my website if you'd like to look at them or purchase them. And thanks for joining me today on Everyday Tarot. Just as a reminder, the podcast comes out daily, Monday through Friday for all of 2025. You can email me, me@CamilleASaunders.com with thoughts, questions, and more. All right, see you soon, and I am cutting this episode short because I am off to Enchanticon. I will see you on the other side. All right, goodbye.